occasion would you touch people's heads?
I can tell you. We can tell you.
Don't watch porn in Indonesia because it's illegal.
VPN, you know? How would they know?
Like there's not already. It sounds gorgeous.
Sounds gorgeous.
That's what I know. It sounds gorgeous.
For me, as a Brazilian, I think if I wanted to learn how to speak Indonesian, it wouldn't be like that hard.
It's an easy language.
Yeah.
I heard it's an easy language.
Yeah.
That's one thing I heard. I know two things. Two things. One, Bali. I know Bali and I know Indonesian's easy.
Now I know two things about Indonesia.
We all know two things.
So actually, I'm gonna be telling you guys 10 things that you shouldn't do in Indonesia.
Good to know before going.
Yeah, because I'm gonna go next year.
Oh, really?
If I have money.
Oh, well, that's always the variable.
So first of all, don't underestimate Indonesia's size. Indonesia is a big country. We're the fourth most populous country in the world.
Whoa.
We have 270 million people over.
What?
So it's like India, China, US, and then Indonesia. So I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, I had no idea.
Like in terms of land size, we're on the equator on the globe. So like that's why it looks tiny, but actually we're wider than the US.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Some other things, we have 17,000 islands.
17. 17.
17000.
I'm gonna need to see the to scale size.
How many football fields is this? In America, that's a big joke. Is we can only measure size by how many football fields because it's like what you learn growing up. So we're like, how many football fields?
American football.
Yeah, American football. American football
Yeah.
fields. How much of Indonesia is like populated versus like nature?
I'm not sure, but I mean, we have 5 major islands, so that's where most of the people are, and then like a lot of little islands. That's why it's like up to 17,000. We're also very, very diverse.
Wait, there is an official language, right?
There is an official language, Bahasa Indonesia, so Indonesian. It's a uniting language that all these different people, like in school, we learn in Indonesian, but if you just hear like daily conversations, nobody actually speaks proper Indonesian. Everyone mixes in their own local dialect, so when you go to another city, they mix with their other dialect. And yeah, so it's actually hard to learn Indonesian, not because Indonesian itself is hard, but because nobody actually uses it.
It's easy, but only till this far.
Yeah, that's true. Grammar-wise, it's easy, but usage-wise, you need to learn by speaking and practicing.
That's why sometimes you're like, oh wait, how do we write that?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody says it in proper Indonesian.
Can you tell us something about Indonesia in your local dialect?
For example, like if I say how are you, it's like apa kabar in Indonesian, but in like Javanese, it's like piye kabare. It's completely different. And the second thing is, you should not use your left hand when giving things or receiving things. It's considered rude. So always use your right hand.
Thank God I'm right-handed.
Yeah, it's hard for left-handed people because you still have to switch to the right hand when you give things.
Wow. That's kind of like the Korean thing that like you have to give like,
Yeah,
with both hands.
Yeah. For us, it's the right hand.
Oh.
So like, for example, you're holding something, but you need to give something to someone else, then you're like, oh, sorry for using the left hand.
You have to say it.
To be polite.
Yeah, got it.
I like to give things JoJo style like this.
Yeah, that's how I take pamphlets from people handing it outside the subway. I go like that.
How is it in your countries? Like, is the right hand necessary?
In Brazil is definitely not. Like we're just take it.
As long as you don't take it like that.
Yeah. Or like throw it when you're giving to someone. Like I think that it's like this in any country. Like in Brazil, it would be a huge problem too.
Because I grew up like always using my right hand, like knowing that it's the polite way, I never thought it wasn't a thing in other countries. In Germany, like people were doing things with the left, and I'm like, you know, but then you have to switch it up. Interesting. Number 3, don't touch people's heads.
Heads? Really? Even if you're like close to the person?
Actually, again, Indonesia is very diverse, so I think generally you shouldn't touch, but on what occasion would you touch people's heads?
I can tell you. We can tell you.
She was like, I am holding the urge to touch her hair.
I guess if the other person consents it, like for certain things, it's okay, but like generally you wouldn't touch people's heads. For example, like in Bali especially, even children's heads, you're not allowed to like, ruffle their heads or something.
That would be something that would be a problem for me. Oh, you're so cute. And then just go straight away to their head.
It depends, but in certain regions, because they believe that the head is like the most holy part of the body, so you shouldn't like touch it. So also in other areas, it's like passing things overhead is also considered pamali or like a taboo.
What would you pass over your head though?
For example, if I don't know, you're in class, you want to pass it to the person behind you, and you're like,
Do that with your left hand too, just like.
hey, I'm not on the left hand.
But you never do it to like your parents or anything.
Depends on the families as well and the cultures. Number 4, don't point with your finger, especially at people, because this shows like you're really angry, so it's like very rude. Also, even for pointing directions, some people just use their thumb instead.
Oh, so any finger is fine, but not this one.
Like this would be rude, more rude in other regions, but generally you don't point at people like that, or you just use your whole hand.
Oh, in Brazil, we also hear that since we're kids, like pointing is ugly, don't do that. And when we're like saying directions, we also don't do this. We either do this, like with 2 hands, like 2 fingers.
I feel like Americans point a lot.
Americans point, but we also say it's rude to point at the same time. Don't point at people, but you can point at other things.
Yeah, same as in the UK.
Yeah, they're like, if you have one finger pointing forward, you have 4 pointing
So just point all of them.
Number 5, don't raise your voice.
Ooh, immediately going to jail.
This is also, it depends on where you are, because we have 5 big islands, right? And in Java, generally that's like the people are calmer, I would say. But in like Sumatra, then it's more normal to speak in a loud voice, and that's okay. I think in any culture it's rude to raise your voice. Right?
Not in Brazil.
Not in Brazil.
We are a very crazy mix, and we have a huge influence like from Italy. So we talk loud. We usually talk loud. You mean raise your voice like just talk loudly, or just like raise your voice at someone like aggressively?
I guess in an aggressive, angry way. Because I think generally we're very sungkan. How do we? You say as if, but you know the vibe, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to bother people. You don't want people to feel bad. So we're just kind of like, just don't do things that offend people. Pointing goes under that. Raising your voice goes under that as well. Number 6, don't walk the streets in swimsuits.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that's kind of obvious. So we are a country of like archipelago, so we have a lot of islands, but not all the cities are by the beach. But I guess everyone would know you're a foreigner as well.
How would they know?
like there's not already something.
Generally, like the Indonesian culture is still more covered up. We're also like a pretty religious country. Like no matter what religion you're taking, but it's pretty religious generally. So like covering up is more polite.
Like instead of wearing suits, it's like just like in Korea, like they use actual like.
No, normally not.
So they wear more like a rash guard, like here in Korea.
Or do they do like the full one-piece swimsuit?
I don't live by the beach.
Okay.
In the beach areas, I guess because there's also a lot of tourists, it's a lot more free.
That's completely
not in
different
the
from
cities.
Brazil.
We know.
Yeah.
We know Brazil. We know what they're like.
How is it in your country though?
I mean, in LA, we got people wearing next to nothing.
Like just in the malls near the beaches and stuff?
No, in just the middle of the city. Just
Normal day.
In some places, if it matters to like the owner of an establishment, they'll have a sign on the front that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. So it just depends on the area and also just like whether you care or not. But I would say, yeah, it's not uncommon, especially if you are near the ocean somewhere. Yeah.
So in the beach area, if you're at the beach and you're near the beach, you would normally wear your swimsuit and you can walk around and it's fine and normal. But once you get to your car, like that's the time to put on clothes. Like you don't have to wear a top, but you gotta at least put on some pants.
UK people are pretty chill about everything. I mean, you know, our summer is like 22 degrees Celsius. And people will just take their tops off at the pub.
What?
Men will just be like shirtless in the street.
I guess in Indonesia, it's more common to see men shirtless. Like if they're working outdoors because it's really hot. It's always summer all year round. It's like 30 degrees on average.
Yeah, Brazil too.
So in the UK, people will actually wear a swimsuit at the park. People in the UK love tanning. Everyone's in the park in their swimsuits. They don't really care.
I think they do that in New York too, like at the big park.
Central Park.
Central Park.
Well, in Brazil we have something similar actually. At the beach is normal pretty much, like nearby the beach everybody's gonna be walking like just on swimsuits. Even in the houses close by, but like any establishment that you wanna go in, you're probably gonna be putting on something, at least a shirt.
Number 7, don't reject food or drink offers to you.
What if you don't wanna, or like...
For example, you're in a school gathering or like you're visiting a friend's house and your friend's parents would like be like, hey, here, like have some whatever. And then you're like, no, thank you, I just ate. It's like,
My food's not good enough for you?
yeah. It's like, why are you so rude? Like, you shouldn't say no. Even if you're full, you should still like eat something or try something.
Like it'd be like, oh, I'm going to try it out. I'm a little bit full, but I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, no, I can't take this, but you should take it.
Oh, I would love that. In the UK, it's the complete opposite.
Really?
Yeah, if you go to your friend's house, you shouldn't eat their
Oh,
food unless you have a play date or a sleepover.
They do that in America too, though. These days. Yeah, it's kind of for their kids. Yeah.
They didn't make the food for you, so why are you eating it? Like that kind of thing.
Brazil, the same thing. So like anytime that an uninvited guest would just come to my house and we didn't have anything, my mom was like, okay, Julia, I'll give you 10.
Yeah,
go
buy
something.
Buy something.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm in a sort of a mix because if you're with someone and they offer something that they got for themselves, like and offer you, you should say no. However, if you go to someone else's house and they offer you something, if you refuse like too much, he's like very rude. So we're like in the between.
So I should not say yes to food in the UK.
Whole meal, some people would think, oh, this family only made enough for them. But if it's like snacks or if you planned it, then it's fine.
Number 8, don't show public displays of affection.
Yeah.
It depends on where as well. Kissing in public is definitely like a, what? Like, yeah, no.
What about hugging?
I can only speak for I come from Jakarta, so I would speak about that culture. In malls, holding hands is very normal. Side hugs are normal. Hugs are also okay, but not like romantic.
Right, like friendship vibes.
Like friendship vibes is really fine.
That kind of goes for America too, is like, it's still considered gross and weird.
I mean, even going as far as like caressing and holding each other for a long time in public, people.
Oh, okay, but that's like an awkward period of time. You're just
But I think also one interesting thing though is between normally women, like when they meet, some people also do like the cheek to cheek thing, and that's okay. So like anything non-romantic, I think is normally fine.
Okay, UK is opposite. Nobody cares. They do whatever they want. They just
Like making out on the subway.
That's normal.
sit on each other's laps and stuff.
I didn't know UK was wilder than the US.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They're wild.
People can get very aggressive. So if you confront someone, they'll probably just start a fight with you. So everyone's like, whatever.
Okay, so number 9, don't watch porn in Indonesia because it's illegal.
Oh.
Well,
Hey, VPN,
What's the punishment?
like jail time, or is it like a slap on the wrist?
So it is punishable by law, like the most severe is up to 12 years in prison and also like really heavy fines. So
12 years in prison for seeing things.
The wrong things, unholy things.
Got it.
So are there no those raunchy ads on some sites?
Right.
Because like even though adult materials like illegal in Korea, if you go on some sites, there's like a bunch of advertisements on the site.
Or even like pamphlets in public. Like,
Yeah.
in Gangnam every morning.
oh, pamphlets in public, I think, no way.
Because like on the ground you can see like,
everywhere.
Last one, don't gamble. It's also illegal.
I gamble every day.
Oh man. Wow.
I was gonna say, being alive is a gamble.
So in Indonesia, there's no legal casinos. Like gambling is just fully illegal.
As like some cruises, they have like casinos inside of it, and like some of them they go around Asia and all. Like if Indonesians go to those cruises, like they're not allowed to go inside the casino.
I think within like the Indonesian territory.
It's more of like
So it depends on where that is.
Is it gambling that's legal or casinos?
Oh, gambling is illegal. So betting on
anything?
Why is it illegal, do you think?
it leads to worse things, maybe money problems.
Bankruptcy.
We should learn from that.
yeah, we all should.
We all should. I think every country has like a lot of good and bad that can be like taken and used in other places. Yeah.
There are a lot of things that I didn't know.
I know more than 2 things.
12.
Yeah.
Totally surprised about the pointing.
Yeah.
Where's the supermarket? It's over there.
I'm gonna point like this now.
I want to point like this now too. I'm kind of surprised. There are plenty of things that I didn't know and that like I can kind of relate either to my culture or to like other cultures that I've had contact with, for example, Korean ones. I'm like, oh, I can see where like you guys are coming from, like with this idea. I want to go to Indonesia one day.
It was interesting to me how the things that are normal to me aren't actually normal in other countries. Like I thought I was cultured enough to know some things about international stuff, but
We're so different. Yeah. And actually, one of my best friends is Indonesian. I didn't know any of the stuff that you told me. So I should do more research with her.
It's okay, now you know.
Thank you.
Today we talked about 10 things that you shouldn't do in Indonesia.
If you liked the video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below.
See you guys next time.
Bye!